Welcome, listeners. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of lean management principles and how they can revolutionize business process optimization. I'm thrilled to explore this topic with you.
Absolutely. It's great to be here. Lean principles have been game changers in various industries, and I'm excited to discuss how they can create greater value across all business functions.
Let's start with the basics. Lean management, originally developed by Toyota, focuses on minimizing waste while maximizing customer value. It's not just for manufacturing anymore, it's applicable to all sorts of business processes.
That's right. And what's interesting is how these principles can be applied to different departments, from strategic planning to customer service. It's all about creating efficiency and value throughout the entire organization.
Absolutely. One of the key aspects of lean is identifying and eliminating waste. In business processes, this could mean reducing unnecessary steps, streamlining communication, or optimizing resource allocation.
Exactly. And it's not just about cutting costs. Lean is really about enhancing value for the customer. By removing non-value adding activities, companies can focus more on what truly matters to their clients.
Speaking of customers, how do you think lean principles directly impact customer satisfaction?
Well, when businesses optimize their processes, it often leads to faster delivery times, higher quality products or services, and more responsive customer support. All of these contribute to a better customer experience.
That makes sense. It's like a domino effect. Improve internal processes, and the benefits ripple out to the customers. But implementing lean isn't always straightforward, is it?
You're right, it can be challenging. It requires a shift in mindset across the entire organization. Everyone from top management to frontline workers needs to be on board with the lean philosophy.
Absolutely. It's not just about implementing new tools or techniques, it's about fostering a culture of continuous improvement. Employees need to be empowered to identify and solve problems.
That's a great point. Lean is as much about people as it is about processes. It encourages employees to take ownership of their work and constantly look for ways to improve.
And this continuous improvement mindset can lead to some impressive innovations, don't you think? Companies that embrace lean often find new and creative ways to add value to their products or services.
Definitely, it's about being proactive rather than reactive. By constantly analyzing and refining processes, businesses can stay ahead of the curve and adapt quickly to changing market conditions.
Now let's dive into the core lean principles and how they apply to business. There are 5 key principles that form the foundation of lean management. Can you walk us through them?
Certainly. The first principle is value. It's all about identifying what customers truly value. This means understanding their needs and preferences, not just what we think they want.
That's crucial. So many businesses make assumptions about customer value without actually asking. How does this principle translate into practice?
Well, it could involve conducting customer surveys, analyzing purchasing patterns, or even direct conversations with clients. For instance, a software company might discover that customers value ease of use over a multitude of features.
Interesting. What's the second principle?
The second is value stream. This involves mapping out all the steps involved in delivering value to the customer. It's about seeing the big picture of your processes.
I see. So it's like creating a roadmap of your entire operation, right? How might this look in a real business scenario?
Exactly. Take a manufacturing company, for example. They might map out every step from raw material procurement to final product delivery. This helps identify bottlenecks or unnecessary steps in the process.
That makes sense. What about the third principle?
The third principle is flow. Once you've mapped your value stream, the goal is to ensure smooth progression through these steps, eliminating delays and bottlenecks.
I can see how that would be beneficial. Can you give an example of how a company might improve flow?
Sure, a healthcare provider might reorganize their patient intake process to reduce waiting times and streamline the flow of patients through different departments.
That's a great example. What's the fourth principle?
The fourth is pull. This means letting customer demand drive production rather than producing based on forecasts. It's about being responsive to actual needs.
Interesting. How might this work in a service-based industry?
In a consulting firm, for instance, they might allocate resources to projects based on current client demands rather than maintaining fixed teams. This ensures resources are used where they're most needed.
That's smart. And the final principle?
The last one is perfection. It's about continuously improving processes. The idea is that there's always room for improvement, no matter how good your current processes are.
Now that we've covered the core lean principles, let's shift our focus to how these can be applied in strategic and financial planning. It's fascinating how lean can impact high-level business processes, isn't it?
Absolutely. Lean principles can dramatically improve strategic and financial planning. One of the key tools we can use here is value stream mapping, which we touched on earlier. When applied to the budgeting process, it can be incredibly powerful.
That's intriguing. How exactly does value stream mapping work in the context of financial planning?
Well, it involves mapping out every step of the budgeting process, from initial data collection to final approval. This allows companies to identify and eliminate non-value adding steps, streamlining the entire process.
I can see how that would be beneficial. Do you have any real-world examples of this in action?
Actually, I do. There's a fascinating case of a multinational corporation that applied lean principles to their budgeting cycle. They managed to reduce their annual budgeting process from 6 months to just 6 weeks.
Wow, that's an impressive improvement. How did they achieve such a dramatic reduction?
They focused on two main areas: streamlining approvals and using standardized templates. By eliminating unnecessary approval steps and creating consistent, easy-to-use templates, they cut out a lot of waste in the process.
That's remarkable. It really shows how lean principles can be applied beyond just manufacturing or operations. Are there other aspects of financial planning where lean can make a difference?
Definitely. Another area where lean can have a big impact is in financial forecasting. By applying lean principles, companies can create more accurate and efficient forecasting models.
That sounds interesting. How does lean improve forecasting accuracy?
It's all about focusing on the most relevant data and eliminating noise. Lean forecasting models prioritize key drivers of financial performance, reducing the complexity and potential for errors in the process.
I can see how that would lead to more reliable forecasts. It seems like lean principles really have the potential to transform financial operations from top to bottom.
Absolutely. And it's not just about efficiency gains. By streamlining these processes, finance teams can spend less time on routine tasks and more time on strategic analysis and decision-making support.
That's a great point. It's not just about doing things faster, but about creating more value for the organization as a whole. Do you think this shift in focus can lead to better financial decisions?
Without a doubt. When finance teams have more time for in-depth analysis, they can provide better insights to guide strategic decisions. This can lead to more informed investment choices, better resource allocation, and ultimately improved business performance.
Now let's shift our focus to how lean principles can optimize accounting and financial reporting. This is a crucial area where efficiency can make a huge difference, isn't it?
Absolutely. Lean can transform accounting and financial reporting by focusing on what stakeholders truly value in financial information. It's all about streamlining processes and eliminating waste.
That makes sense. Can you give us an example of how lean principles might be applied in this context?
Sure. One key lean principle that's particularly relevant here is the pull principle. In financial reporting, this means generating reports only when they're needed, rather than producing them on a fixed schedule regardless of demand.
Interesting. So it's about being more responsive to actual needs rather than following a rigid routine. How might this look in practice?
Well, instead of automatically producing a full set of reports every month, a company might set up a system where stakeholders can request specific reports as needed. This reduces unnecessary work and ensures that resources are used efficiently.
That sounds like it could save a lot of time and effort. Are there any real-world examples of companies successfully implementing this approach?
Actually, yes. There's a great case study of a mid-size manufacturer that applied lean principles to their month-end closing process. They managed to reduce their closing time from 10 days to just 3 days.
Wow, that's impressive. How did they achieve such a significant improvement?
They focused on two main areas: eliminating redundant checks and automating reconciliations. By streamlining these processes, they were able to dramatically reduce the time and effort required for month-end closing.
That's a great example of how lean can create tangible benefits. Are there other aspects of accounting where lean principles can be applied?
Definitely. Another area where lean can have a big impact is in accounts payable and receivable. By applying lean principles, companies can streamline these processes and improve cash flow management.
That sounds valuable. How might lean improve these processes specifically?
It could involve things like automating invoice processing, implementing electronic payment systems, or using data analytics to predict payment patterns. The goal is to reduce delays and errors while improving accuracy and speed.
I can see how that would be beneficial for both the company and its suppliers or customers. It seems like lean principles really have the potential to transform financial operations from end to end.
Absolutely. And it's not just about efficiency gains. By streamlining these processes, finance teams can spend less time on routine tasks and more time on value-adding activities like financial analysis and strategic planning.
That's a great point. It's about creating more value for the organization as a whole. Before we wrap up this section, is there anything else you'd like to add about lean in accounting and financial reporting?
Yes, I think it's important to note that implementing lean in finance isn't just about adopting new tools or technologies. It requires a shift in mindset and often involves reimagining entire processes from the ground up.
Now let's turn our attention to how lean principles can be applied in human resources and payroll. These departments play a crucial role in managing an organization's most valuable asset, its people. How can lean help optimize these areas?
Absolutely. Lean principles can significantly streamline HR and payroll processes, leading to improved efficiency and better employee experiences. One area where lean can have a substantial impact is in the recruitment process.
That's interesting. Can you elaborate on how lean principles might be applied to recruitment?
Sure, a great example is the use of value stream mapping in the hiring process. By mapping out each step from job posting to onboarding, companies can identify and eliminate non-value-adding activities, significantly reducing time to hire.
That sounds like it could be a game changer. Do you have any specific examples of companies successfully implementing this approach?
Actually, I do. There's a fascinating case of a tech company that applied value stream mapping to their hiring process. They managed to reduce their time to hire from 45 days to just 20 days.
Wow, that's an impressive improvement. How did they achieve such a significant reduction?
They focused on eliminating bottlenecks in the process, such as unnecessary approval steps and redundant interviews. They also implemented an applicant tracking system to streamline candidate management and communication.
That's a great example of how lean can create tangible benefits in HR. Are there other areas within HR where lean principles can be applied?
Definitely. Another area where lean can have a big impact is in payroll processing. By applying the concept of flow, companies can ensure smooth processing of paychecks and reduce errors.
That sounds valuable. How might lean improve payroll processes specifically?
It could involve things like automating data entry, implementing self-service portals for employees to manage their information, or using predictive analytics to forecast payroll needs. The goal is to reduce manual work and minimize errors.
I can see how that would benefit both the company and its employees. It seems like lean principles really have the potential to transform HR operations from end to end.
Absolutely. And it's not just about efficiency gains. By streamlining these processes, HR teams can spend less time on administrative tasks and more time on strategic initiatives like talent development and employee engagement.
That's a great point. It's about creating more value for the organization as a whole. Before we wrap up this section, is there anything else you'd like to add about lean in HR and payroll?
Yes, I think it's important to note that implementing lean in HR isn't just about adopting new tools or technologies. It requires a shift in mindset and often involves reimagining entire processes from the ground up.
Now let's shift our focus to applying lean principles in IT and information security. These areas are critical in today's digital business landscape. How can lean make a difference here?
Absolutely. Lean principles can be incredibly effective in IT and information security. One of the key lean principles that aligns well with these areas is perfection, the idea of continuous improvement, which is crucial in the ever-evolving world of cybersecurity.
That makes sense. Can you give us an example of how this principle might be applied in practice?
Sure. A great example is a financial services firm that applied lean principles to their software development cycle. They managed to reduce their deployment time by 50% while simultaneously enhancing their security checks.
Wow, that's impressive. How did they achieve such significant improvements?
They implemented a continuous integration and deployment pipeline, automating many of the manual steps in their development process. This not only sped up deployment but also reduced the risk of human error in security checks.
That's a great example of how lean can improve both efficiency and security. Are there other lean principles that are particularly relevant to IT?
Definitely. Another key principle is the pull system, which can be very effective in IT support. Instead of pushing out updates or fixes on a set schedule, IT teams can respond to user needs as they arise. For instance, an IT support team might implement a ticketing system that prioritizes and addresses user issues based on urgency and impact. rather than working through a predefined list of tasks.
I can see how that would lead to more efficient resource allocation. How might this impact the overall IT support experience?
Well, it typically results in faster resolution times for critical issues and improved user satisfaction. By focusing on what users actually need rather than what IT thinks they need, support becomes more responsive and effective.
That's fascinating. It seems like lean principles can really transform IT operations. Before we wrap up, are there any other key applications of lean in IT or information security that you'd like to highlight?
Yes, one more important application is in project management within IT. Lean principles can help reduce waste in IT projects, such as unnecessary features or overprocessing of information.
That's an interesting point. How might this look in practice?
For example, an IT team might use Kanban boards to visualize workflow and limit work in progress. This helps prevent bottlenecks and ensures that resources are focused on the most valuable tasks at any given time.
It's clear that lean has a lot to offer in IT and information security. As we wrap up this section, what would you say is the key takeaway?
I'd say the key takeaway is that lean principles, when applied thoughtfully, can significantly enhance both the efficiency and effectiveness of IT and security operations. It's about working smarter, not just harder.
Now let's turn our attention to how lean principles can revolutionize procurement and supply chain management. This is an area where efficiency can make a huge difference, isn't it?
Absolutely. Lean principles can transform procurement and supply chain management by streamlining processes and eliminating waste. One of the key tools we can use here is value stream mapping.
That's interesting. Can you elaborate on how value stream mapping works in this context?
Sure, value stream mapping involves visualizing the entire supply chain process, from supplier to customer. It helps identify bottlenecks, unnecessary steps, and areas where value is added or lost. This allows companies to optimize their supply chains for maximum efficiency.
That sounds powerful. Do you have any real-world examples of companies successfully implementing this approach?
Actually, I do. There's a fascinating case of a retail giant that applied lean principles to their inventory management. By implementing a just-in-time inventory system based on lean principles, they managed to reduce their inventory costs by 15%.
Wow, that's an impressive cost reduction. How did they achieve such significant savings?
They focused on aligning their inventory levels more closely with actual customer demand. By using data analytics to predict demand patterns and optimizing their supply chain, they were able to significantly reduce excess inventory while still meeting customer needs.
That's a great example of how lean can create tangible benefits in supply chain management. Are there other areas within procurement where lean principles can be applied?
Definitely. Another area where lean can have a big impact is in supplier relationships. By focusing on the lean principle of value, companies can make more strategic purchasing decisions and build stronger partnerships with key suppliers.
That sounds valuable. How might lean improve supplier relationships specifically?
It could involve things like collaborating with suppliers to reduce lead times, implementing quality improvement programs, or sharing demand forecasts to help suppliers plan more effectively. The goal is to create a more integrated and efficient supply chain.
I can see how that would benefit both the company and its suppliers. It seems like lean principles really have the potential to transform procurement operations from end to end.
Absolutely. And it's not just about cost savings. By streamlining these processes, procurement teams can spend less time on routine tasks and more time on strategic activities like supplier development and risk management.
That's a great point. It's about creating more value for the organization as a whole. Before we wrap up this section, is there anything else you'd like to add about lean in procurement and supply chain management?
Yes, I think it's important to note that implementing lean in procurement isn't just about adopting new tools or technologies. It requires a shift in mindset and often involves reimagining entire processes from the ground up.
Now let's shift our focus to how lean principles can enhance sales and marketing effectiveness. This is a critical area for businesses to create value and connect with customers. How can lean make a difference here?
Absolutely. Lean principles can significantly boost sales and marketing effectiveness. One of the key lean principles that's particularly relevant here is value. In the context of marketing, this means focusing on activities that truly resonate with customers.
That makes a lot of sense. Can you give us an example of how this principle might be applied in practice?
Sure. A great example is a B2B software company that applied lean principles to streamline its lead qualification process. By focusing on what truly mattered to their prospects, they managed to increase their conversion rates by 30%.
Wow, that's an impressive improvement. How exactly did they achieve this?
They use data analytics to identify the most promising lead characteristics and behaviors. Then they redesigned their qualification process to focus on these high-value indicators. This allowed them to spend more time on leads that were more likely to convert.
That's a fantastic application of lean principles. Are there other areas in sales and marketing where lean can be applied?
Definitely. Another key principle that's very effective in sales is the concept of flow. This can be used to create smoother handoffs between marketing and sales teams, ensuring a seamless customer journey.
That sounds interesting. How might this look in practice?
Well, imagine a company that uses a CRM system to track leads from initial contact through to sale. By applying lean principles, they could optimize the flow of information between marketing and sales, ensuring that each team has the right information at the right time.
I can see how that would lead to more efficient and effective sales processes. How might this impact the overall customer experience?
It typically results in a more cohesive experience for the customer. They're not repeating information or getting mixed messages as they move through the sales funnel. This can lead to higher customer satisfaction and potentially faster sales cycles.
That's fascinating. It seems like lean principles can really transform sales and marketing operations. Before we wrap up, are there any other key applications of lean in this area that you'd like to highlight?
Yes, one more important application is in content marketing. Lean principles can help teams focus on creating content that delivers the most value to their audience, rather than just producing a high volume of content.
That's an interesting point. How might this look in practice?
For example, a marketing team might use analytics to identify which types of content generate the most engagement and leads. They could then focus their resources on producing more of this high-value content, rather than spreading themselves thin across multiple content types.
Now let's dive into how lean principles can transform business analytics. This is an area where efficiency and value focus are crucial. How can lean make a difference in data collection and analysis processes?
Absolutely. Lean principles can be game changers in business analytics. One of the key lean concepts that applies here is the pull principle. In analytics, this means ensuring that we're producing insights that are actually needed by decision makers rather than just churning out reports.
That's interesting. Can you give us a real-world example of how this might work in practice?
Sure. There's a great case study of a healthcare provider that used lean principles to redesign its analytics dashboard. By focusing on what executives actually needed, they reduced report generation time by 40% and increased usage among executives by 75%.
Wow, those are impressive results. How exactly did they achieve such significant improvements?
They started by interviewing key stakeholders to understand what information they actually used to make decisions. Then, they streamlined their data collection and reporting processes to focus on these key metrics. They also implemented automated data collection where possible to reduce manual work.
That's a great application of lean principles. Are there other areas in business analytics where lean can be applied?
Definitely. Another area where lean can have a big impact is in data quality management. By applying lean principles, analytics teams can reduce errors and improve the overall reliability of their insights.
That sounds valuable. How might lean improve data quality specifically?
It could involve things like implementing automated data validation checks, standardizing data entry processes, or using statistical process control to monitor data quality over time. The goal is to catch and correct errors as early as possible in the data pipeline.
I can see how that would lead to more reliable analytics. It seems like lean principles really have the potential to transform the entire analytics process.
Absolutely. And it's not just about efficiency gains. By streamlining these processes, analytics teams can spend less time on data preparation and more time on actual analysis and insight generation.
That's a great point. It's about creating more value for the organization as a whole. Before we wrap up this section, is there anything else you'd like to add about lean in business analytics?
Yes, I think it's important to note that implementing lean in analytics isn't just about adopting new tools or technologies. It requires a shift in mindset and often involves rethinking how we approach data analysis from the ground up.
That's a valuable insight. It seems like lean principles can really revolutionize how businesses approach analytics. Now, as we wrap up, can you give us a brief overview of how these lean analytics improvements might impact other areas of the business?
Certainly. When analytics processes are optimized using lean principles, it can have a ripple effect across the organization. For example, faster, more accurate reporting can lead to quicker decision-making in areas like finance, operations, and strategy. It can also help identify inefficiencies in other business processes, further driving organizational improvement.
Now, let's turn our attention to how lean principles can be applied in treasury and banking. These areas are crucial for financial management and risk mitigation. How can lean make a difference here?
Absolutely. Lean principles can significantly improve efficiency in treasury and banking operations. One key area where lean can have a major impact is cash management. For instance, value stream mapping can be applied to cash forecasting processes.
That's interesting. Can you give us a specific example of how value stream mapping might work in cash forecasting?
Certainly. There's a great case study of a multinational corporation that applied value stream mapping to its cash forecasting process. By doing so, they managed to improve their forecasting accuracy by 20% and reduce the time spent on daily cash positioning by 30%.
Wow, those are impressive results. How exactly did they achieve such significant improvements?
They started by mapping out every step in their cash forecasting process, from data collection to final reporting. This allowed them to identify and eliminate non-value-adding activities. They also implemented automated data collection and analysis tools to reduce manual work and potential errors.
That's a great application of lean principles. Are there other areas in treasury and banking where lean could be applied?
Definitely. Another area where lean can have a big impact is in risk management. By applying lean principles, banks can streamline their risk assessment processes and improve their responsiveness to potential threats.
That sounds crucial in today's fast-paced financial environment. How might lean improve risk management specifically?
It could involve things like implementing real-time risk monitoring systems, standardizing risk assessment procedures across different departments, or using data analytics to identify emerging risks more quickly. The goal is to create a more agile and proactive risk management approach.
I can see how that would lead to more effective risk mitigation. It seems like lean principles really have the potential to transform treasury and banking operations from end to end.
Absolutely. And it's not just about efficiency gains. By streamlining these processes, treasury and banking teams can spend less time on routine tasks and more time on strategic activities like financial planning and relationship management.
That's a great point. Before we wrap up, are there any other areas in business where lean principles can be applied effectively?
Yes, lean principles can also optimize customer support, legal and compliance, and audit and assurance functions. For instance, a telecommunications company used lean to reduce customer complaint resolution time from 5 days to just 1 day, significantly improving customer satisfaction.
That's impressive. It really shows how versatile lean principles can be across different business functions. As we conclude, what would you say is the key takeaway about lean management?
I think the key takeaway is that lean is not just a set of tools, but a mindset of continuous improvement that can transform every aspect of your business. It's about creating more value with fewer resources, which is crucial in today's competitive business environment.
Thank you for those insights. It's clear that lean principles have a lot to offer across various business functions. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next time.